Honestly, I feel a little nervous even saying this, but I've been living a lie for 14 years. And now I'm here I'm going to tell you why I realized and how I fully stopped. So why is lying part of storytelling and life? Today we'll be going over the real reason why people are written into stories to lie to themselves and how my biggest lie in my life through the lens of a real life character arc set me up for a road of misery as well as ruin my confidence the entire time. We all hate being lied to, but honestly, humanity needs lies to survive. Imagine if we were 100% honest. Your boss asks you, "Oh, how was your weekend?" Instead of saying, "Good, thanks," you have to say, "I spent 14 hours crying into a bowl of cereal and watching reality TV." Society would literally collapse. We don't lie to be malicious. We lie because the truth is an HR violation. A lie is a flawed personal philosophy that guides a character's decision. It might be something like, I can't depend on anyone but myself. My worth depends on the usefulness to other people. Depressing stuff like that. Now, why do people write characters that lie to themselves? For one thing, it's what people do. We're all running around with flawed theories about ourselves and about everyone else. And like our characters, hopefully we'd like to challenge our lives and grow to become better, wiser people over time. So we need a lie. A lie is a way to generate pace, conflict, and makes it to be where a character is more believable. It shows like somebody you want to root for so that you can basically you basically they're lying to themselves. You want to see them beat the lie and become a better person. Mine was that I believe my lie that I was dealing with for 14 years was that I needed to people please so that people would like me. That if I people please, I would build more power, I'd be more likable, and then, the universe would just know, "Hey, you're really a cool guy." Another reason why we write lies into a story or into a character arc is because it helps build a theme. So in most stories, the central theme is the truth the protagonist is finally embraces at the end of the story. Like, I can't be loved because of this or this. And then at the end of the day, they end up being loved, not because of this or that, but because they were actually loved all along and they just never realized it. And then also having a lie creates conflict. It makes where your fish it can either be where your fictional one is or actually going through something, or like you're conflicted with yourself. And then having a lie actually gives you a way that you can time it. So if you have a lie in a story, you can make it, if you time the lie at the beginning of the story, then the payoff at the end is going to be much more satisfying than if a character that's like lying to themselves and then they haven't been lying to themselves the entire time in the story, and then you put it at the end of the story, you'll realize, oh shoot, like that they lied at the very end. They got over that lie within the last 30 minutes of a film or the last 30 minutes of this novel. Like, that really didn't really pay off. So how do we apply this philosophy or the concept of storytelling, the concept of stories that revolve around a character's lie? So how do I apply it to my life? So what lie I was living for 14 years is one that I believed that I wasn't actually valuable. I hid parts of myself that I believe wasn't important enough, that I was only valuable if I pleased people, that if I drew attention to myself, I would be putting myself into danger. I distinctly remember as a young child in middle school that I would change the pitch of my voice to sound more like a child so that people would like me more, or they would think that, like, oh, he's not dangerous, or kids wouldn't bully me, which is kind of an ironic thing because you would think that you being in middle school acting like a kid, people would bully you, but for some reason it was it kind of protected me a little bit. Like, people were like, oh, they won't bully me. I know, right? Pathetic. But people pleasing is real, my dudes. It makes people do some weird stuff, to be honest. The realization for me was that all this hiding, I wasn't actually doing myself any service. Now that I was valuing myself more in my life, the reason I is actually kind of plays into part of the reason why I don't feel like I'm in shape, is because I didn't really value myself or the way that I carried myself. I kind of was like, I'll be who I am. But I'll get to that in a later video. I would put my workouts on hold because I thought if I helped somebody else, I would be more likable and more powerful. Or the realization that I just didn't like not like to be liked by people. I tried my best to please them so that I could be of value. But I realized that the only value you can bring is to yourself, not some arbitrary one. You're not going to please everybody and you're not going to be liked by everyone, and that's not really where your value is. It's not about being acknowledged or about getting stuff. It's about like your locus of control, your self-worth. That's why I feel like being a people pleaser and that living that life like, oh, I needed to be liked, ruined my life to an extent, because it truly be confident in yourself means you have to love yourself first and not to put on a mask, not to be fake. It's because people will know, or they will see you and use you and play on your kindness. So essentially, like, you are trying to please people, you're trying to be better for people, but then people are gonna see like, oh, he's a very kind person. Maybe I can go a little bit farther. Maybe I can go a little bit farther, and it usually doesn't end up working in your service, and it actually pleases people less. The people pleasing conflict with my self assurance, confidence, and courage, because the source of my decisions usually shifted from my own value to the other person's approval. Confidence isn't the belief that everybody will like you. Confidence is a belief that you're okay even if they don't. As a result, people pleasing can make you to appear more agreeable while feeling increasingly disconnected from what you want or what you need. Which we kind of go over that in the different character arc videos too, like the want and the need of like, what do I want, what do I need from life in this character arc. But people pleasing, you kind of disconnect yourself, or at least that's how I felt in my life, where I would disconnect from what I wanted or what I needed for everybody else, and then I just kind of like an amoeba. I would just be like floating there, which doesn't really help. But often, in actuality, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of disappointing others, fear of not being seen negatively. The true kindness can exist only. That actually true kindness can coexist with confidence. So, what is the takeaway? That living a lie is actually not always a bad thing. The internal conflict is what makes life worth living. If you can identify it and get up every day in the chaos, you can choose to be just a little bit better. Don't try to sacrifice your own well-being for the sake of others through fear or a lack of trying. Sometimes living a lie can generate just a little conflict within, highlight a theme, or just you can change the truth a little bit and time it just right for you to get where you need to go. I always knew we already know what's true in our hearts. So whatever lie you told yourself, choose to look at it in the face and either replace it with the truth, a fancier lie, or the most badass lie you have ever put in film, paper, a video game, or the International Space Station, because that would be incredible. I wouldn't be remiss to say that I haven't been told, wow, what a remarkable amount of imagination that you have. You would make a crazy politician. And like always, I always like to appreciate my viewers. So whatever you're currently going through, please comment down below and let me know the time that you have told a little lie to yourself, knowing that you may be wrong, and what that means to you. If you made it to this point in the video right now or a year from now, just know that I appreciate you. So as always, you justers know what to do. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel to continue to be silly out there. As our hero learns that lies are like cursed swords, they seem awesome at first, but eventually a wizard shows up and everything gets complicated. Subscribe for more life lessons that nobody asked for. Farewell, brave traveler.